All right, we're back at the Freedom Unschool, and we are headed southbound.
Let's go south. Let's get some sun.
South for the winter.
Yeah, would like that. Okay, just quick review. As you all know, if you're just getting here for the first time, you should really go back and watch the other videos. But even if you've watched the other ones, which you should have, we can't review these things too many times.
We can't.
No, I'm afraid
No.
we can't.
Well, they're the rules of the game.
Every time I
Part of the
say them,
rules.
I help myself remember them, and I've been saying them thousands of times. Okay, the game is all about identity, right? Because people with the most identity have a line out the door. They have options, and when you have options, you have freedom, baby. That's why we call it the Freedom Unschool.
Yep.
But in order to get all that freedom, we have to unschool ourselves from, in part, our ignorance of the game and a bunch of other mythology that actually runs counter to the game.
Because we didn't know the game.
Because we didn't know the game.
So we made
We're
stuff
just
up.
not clear.
We literally made stuff up.
Well, you know, someone does something and they do actually follow the sequence pretty well.
Yeah.
You'll see a successful story about, you know, a business or whatever, and then they'll tell you, well, the real reason we were successful, and then they'll pick on these sort of methods or symptoms that they thought were what the success formula was. But the fact of the matter is, if you or I went and did those same things, they may or may not work because,
well, this is a
because
great
of timing.
time to please tell us the difference between methods and principles.
It's so valuable, right?
Please.
Principles are true all the time. Methods, you know, it depends.
Exactly.
And so until one knows the principles, we cannot properly select from this enormous menu of methods, right? Every book basically is, here's my 3-step guide about this and my 7-step guide about that. Not like those, you know, there aren't some gems to be mined out of those.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely
I've
get
read
stuff.
a lot of it.
But that's because I know the principles. Before I knew the principles, I was chasing all these lists and exhausting myself with stuff that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't, or worked in one place but didn't work another time. And you kind of, you know, look, if you had to go for a, you know, when you're a little kid and you're first learning to walk or ride a bike, you know, it's unsteady, but you figure it out.
Yeah.
By the time you get proficient at walking, you got it figured out.
Yeah.
But if walking only worked half the time, right? Some days I get up, I can walk. Other days I get out of bed and I face plant, right?
Your leg falls asleep.
right, whatever. You would be like, you wouldn't run.
No, you'd be like, is today
I'm
the
gonna
day?
hold on to this as I go around because I don't know when the rug's gonna come out from under me. I'm being silly, but you know what? Most people don't even have a 500 batting average on a lot of the things they're doing.
This
Okay.
is such a huge distinction or important thing to understand. And
It
you
is.
can't say it enough.
It is.
Because the other thing is there's contradicting methods. Because some people are like, well, that didn't work for me, or that completely contradicts what the other person
100%.
said.
So the game is about identity, and identity gets us a line out the door, which gets us choices. Okay. As I've said before, all the positions are 100% equal. It's all about timing. Please don't tell other people what you think they are. Just invite them to join you in the training. I've found from experience, not everybody wants to be told what their position is.
Not everybody wants
and
to
even
look
when I've got a
there.
student and we're working through it, I ask them questions. Even when I know what they are, I really work hard to help them come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
All right. It's only when there's an extreme amount of trust and I judge that the person has openness and sincerely wants the help that I'll do it. And even that's probably 50-50. Okay. Begin by eliminating 2 positions. Process of elimination is the best way to go, especially in your beginning times, is you're learning how to identify these positions. Your spouse, your kids, your friends, your family, coworkers, all this, you're going to start to go, I wonder what that is, what they are. If you can eliminate 2, that leaves you only 2 to deal with. Because if you've read all those 4 descriptions and you think every time you got to read through those, it's like, this is going to be kind of hard. We're going to give you some shortcuts. That's what this video is about.
Well, and really observe where you come from, which we talked about, versus what you think you do.
Right. One of the next questions people ask a lot is, can I be 2? You know,
No.
can I be southeast?
No.
Or can I be, no, I
No.
can't. No, and you can't.
No.
Literally, this is biologically hardwired, and you're saying, you can't prove that, and I know what? I'm going to confess, I can't yet. When we have a big enough tribe, I predict in our lifetime we're going to find this in DNA, or we're going to find it in a blood test, something like that, because when you see what we have seen with this stuff, it is so powerful, so obvious, so inviolable that it has to be encoded within us somehow.
It has to be.
It has to be.
It is. I know
And
it is.
I cannot wait until we can find that blood test or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay, keep an open mind. You know, our egos can really wreak havoc in this process. It's easy to read one of these descriptions and think, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be. No. All 4 positions are awesome. Every position has many, many stellar historical figures, people that you could feel proud to share this position with. Extremely proud.
So have some humility.
Have humility. Keep an open mind. And remember, you can't trick this. I mean, if you want to say you're another position, you know, be my guest. But you can't win the game trying to play someone else's position.
That's the biggest point.
Can't do it.
You can't win the game.
No.
You can't.
And always remember that the object of even learning this is so that you can figure out what your highest contribution is to lift the identity of others.
So we can prosper.
So we can all prosper as a team. Okay, let's jump right into the South here. So remember, we have this lizard brain, and it's going around with this radar of, am I safe? Am I seen as valuable to the people that matter to me? Because if not, I'm going to get kicked out and I'm going to die. And that lizard brain has 4 very specific survival conversations. And for South, that survival conversation says, the lizard brain saying this: my lizard brain tells me that I will die if I am not included. Okay? My lizard brain tells me that I will die if I am not included. This is the greatest concern for South. And what do I mean by this? I told you the story of about going west, the Lewis and Clark expedition, replication. If you think about it in tribal times, replication, right? Think of the flood where you see people doing the sandbag, the bucket line, the bucket brigade. Mm-hmm. Me to you, another one.
Oh,
okay, that's what South is about. It's that replication, but it isn't just the work that's happening here. It's this incredible connection and coordination to get something very specific done.
They're builders.
Setting up camp, getting wood, putting stuff together. Look, dollars to donuts. You go to that family, reunion barbecue, the potluck dinner, whatever the thing is, and you're going to see a bunch of Souths, not exclusively, but you're going to see a bunch of Souths that absolutely thrive and love being a part of a group, getting stuff like that done, being on a committee, being in a club.
Yeah.
That whole identity of brother and sisterhood is really a huge part of what makes South tick.
Stability.
And it's their strength.
Yeah.
They are the glue of a community.
Yeah. It always reminds me of the moms that are always the ones driving, always the ones volunteering. They're like the
Yes.
room moms. Like they're always in there helping out.
Yeah.
They're busy. They're working. They love it.
Yeah, if a South tells you they're busy, they're bragging.
Yeah.
I mean,
They have a to-do list, because they want
if
always
you ask
something
them,
to do.
they say, I am slammed. I am so busy. Now, some of you are saying, well, I've heard, I say that. I don't think I'm a South. That's true. We all could say these things.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you see it really in effect, the way we're talking about it, you'll see what we're saying. It's
Do you or don't?
you're
I don't
recommended.
believe me.
Yeah, don't.
Don't believe me. Go see it.
Yeah,
Go look.
Yeah, don't believe us. Go out there and look.
Yeah.
All right, we can all be anxious, so go to the anxiety part. For South, when their survival strategy is tolerate. Souths are tough sons of a gun. Super tough.
Yeah.
Souths will endure difficult, repetitive tasks,
Like no
difficult
other.
situations for long periods of time. I mean, everyone's got their breaking point, but Souths, this is part of your superpower.
Yeah.
All right. Now, that's the strength side of it. The weakness side of it is Souths can tolerate things that shouldn't be tolerated for way too long.
They can keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, not realize
Expecting a
maybe
different result.
I should do something else.
Yes. Yeah. That's so. And look, we're not picking on any of these positions. We all have these two sides. Management style is power. We can do this harder, longer, stronger. South, they see part of the success, formula is we just need more horsepower. More people, more time, more resources, more equipment. Let's just overwhelm the situation and get her done.
Yeah. And then do it again, and do it again, and do it again.
Exactly. Their management strategy under stress, here's what happens. That brother sisterhood, that group, what happens when they get in that real duress situation is they gossip and they can undermine the whole effort.
Because they don't want to be left out of the crowd.
Right, but they're seeing something that's threatening the cohesiveness of their whole mission. Something's stopping the action, something threatens their whole community, and they start doing this.
Yeah.
And South's part of your leadership superpower is to find the right answer and to be the virus in the group. Get everybody rallied together. Like,
the virus?
Look, like spread it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, when there's, figure out which side to get on and rally the troops to get on it. And you can often negotiate with whoever the leader of the deal is.
We'll talk
to make
about
that
the
happen.
concern. So your greatest concern is your greatest contribution.
Absolutely.
So if you have a concern,
your greatest concern is the cohesiveness and the success of that group. So give it. When Souths, and I've watched this happen many times, devolve into that gossip, they actually create, as we all do with our toxic behavior, a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
You're worried that it's going to go bad? Believe me, you start gossiping and backstabbing, it will go bad, and it'll go bad faster.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You got to double down on your belief in your contribution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the South that has the ability to pull the whole group together in those critical moments, you want to talk about lifting identity, you want to talk about being that lightning rod?
Yeah.
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 There's your contribution, baby.
Yeah.
Breakdown judgment. It's unfair. So the whole group's going around and someone's messing with the system. Someone looks like they're getting preference, whatever the situation may be. One of the first words out of a South's mouth is going to be something along the lines of, and don't get hung up on specific vocabulary.
Right.
But unfair.
Right.
This is unjust. It's unequal.
Right.
Okay? Confused with accomplishment, replication. As we said before, South can be all about getting busy, but can sometimes not reflect thoughtfully enough about, are we replicating the right things?
Right.
Maybe this replication used to work, but now we can clearly see there's diminishing returns or maybe even negative returns. And so what if what's what we've always done?
Right. They're so busy, they don't want to change.
Right.
Right. And remember, this side is order. They like order.
And it's all about preservation, right? And so strength and weakness, right? You want your system to be strong and replicated. That's your group that's going to do it. But when it's time to change the system, and sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to renew and change these things over. They're not going to be the first ones to do it, and they probably won't even come up with the idea to do it.
Right.
That's just, it's okay.
It's fine.
Remember, for every weakness you see in your own group, you're going to find it's a strength the other way, and vice versa. The weaknesses over here become your strengths. Okay, so we got through, so replications we confuse. Contribution, stability. I mean, Souths are what make the world go around.
You can count on a South.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I said, don't get caught up.
There are individual characters. There always are.
They're just the rocks.
But in general, Souths are our rocks.
Yeah.
They just are.
Yeah. Well, and because of the North-South dynamic with couples, the South has to tolerate the North sometimes. And
Yes.
They have to
Oh,
be.
I watch this with couples all the time.
Oh my gosh, right? Oh my goodness. And when you have a North wife and a South husband, it's a very interesting dynamic.
We
that
know
happens,
of an
too.
internet personality that's a strong North,
Yeah.
and she is fantastic at putting the image out there.
Yeah.
And she's created a heck of a brand. It started with an awesome idea, but she keeps sort of bolting on sort of additions to this whole deal.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes, every once in a while, her mule of a husband who just must get whipped
She
mercilessly.
literally says, like, I berated the heck out of my husband.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh, the poor guy.
Now, that I don't know all the rest of it, but it is a dynamic that happens.
We've seen it a number of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. In divorces where the wife's like, psh,
Well,
Next.
I've seen it both ways.
but
Yeah.
absolutely.
The
Yeah.
South can snap. That's enough. I've been dictated to enough times.
Yeah.
And the North can be kind of like,
Well, and a
you're
South,
holding me back.
That's
You're
a
too
great
stable.
point. The South can only tolerate for so long. And when you push and
Yeah.
past that point, watch
Yeah.
out.
Look, we're not picking on this marriage combination.
No,
this
'cause
happens,
this happens
both ways.
both ways.
Look, think about how they fell in love. This person's full of direction. This person's full of stability. Believe me, North needs some stability. Offense needs grounding.
Yeah.
Okay?
Which is why they're attracted to each other.
Yes. And so we don't have to get to the point where, years and decades later, we're resenting each other for who we already are to begin with. We just have to learn how to coordinate and when to give and when to get out of the way.
Some humility.
A lot
of
of
humility.
Yeah, a lot of humility. But what can happen because we don't know these things is we just think that person's being a jerk. They just don't whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not usually the case. It
Yeah.
took a lot of baby steps
Well,
for that to happen.
Talk about the lens of each person. It's very different. Literally, they're looking in the world through a lens at the world, completely different.
Yeah, okay, well, so let's do energetic clues, right? So for South, they're assessing sincerity. You ever saw I don't know why, I always think of like a Burt Reynolds Smokey and the Bear movie. They get pulled over by the Georgia State Trooper. They got the reflective sunglasses. And it's some northerner probably, driving down from New York. And, the sheriff with the mirrored sunglasses, like, you're not from around here, are you, son? Right? It's like, can we trust this city slicker? Right? That
yeah,
kind of
and this
thing.
is very different than that North assessment.
It is.
Of are
It's-
you competent? It's no.
Can we trust you?
Can we trust
If we
you?
let you into our community, will you wreck it?
Right, because their community
Because
is everything.
we've got a good thing going here.
Right.
We're all on the same page. We're tight,
Right.
and we don't need someone coming in here and wrecking it.
Right.
So look, they're protecting it. I like the picture of the herd of bison, the way they all turn facing out and protect everyone on the inside. They make a circle,
Yeah, like with
right,
bicycles.
to keep the wolves off.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that's how South is. I mean, Souths are. You want someone in your corner, you want a South. It's like
loyal. Yeah.
everything else. All right, so that's their thought versus action. South is an action,
Yeah.
right? They're about, let's get something done. I mean, Souths are very focused on, getting things done.
Yeah.
Action.
Yeah.
They're
If you
not.
if you have a South child, give them a broom.
They don't
They
want.
want to go to work.
Yeah, they don't want to spend a lot of time hearing about your complicated strategies. They just want you to get down to the brass tacks of, are we loading the cart or not?
Right.
I don't need to hear your
Right.
10-year projection and everything else. Just
I don't know. I don't want to know
what
about
are we
all
doing?
the possible apples I can put in the cart.
No.
Where are the
yeah.
apples?
And so for those of you that are on offense, you don't want to bring them in a ton to this side. You'll exhaust them.
Well,
All
they
right.
don't
And I'm
really-
not saying,
yeah.
everyone's always, have these cross-functional teams and gets. There is a time and a place for that, but this biology is an important thing to understand.
It is.
I have done this in my past. I can spend a considerable amount of time at the whiteboard with a creative group brainstorming possibilities. Souths typically don't want to sit through that. If you've got some specific input you need from them to figure out your possibilities, get it from them efficiently, and let them get back to work.
Yep.
If you drag them into this stuff, they're just going to think you're nuts.
Yeah.
Your identity is going to go down
Yeah.
because they think this is chaos. All right?
Well, it is.
Yeah. Well, and it is until it's not. Speak from we have to. Like,
Yeah.
it's a to-do list.
Have
We
to
have
do
to get
this.
this done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's the best way to put
This
it.
is what we have to do.
Yeah.
Focus is, again on others. They're assessing, protecting their tribe.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Accused of constraining freedom with structure.
You got to explain that one.
Well, Souths need structure, right? There's a way of getting things done. If you show up and want to do it a different way, you're probably going to get your wrist smacked. That's not how we do it. And for good reason.
Yes.
Now, you may actually observe that there's a better way to do something. But there's a way to go about implementing that change. You need to first get, in the group and be accepted and trusted. And then you need to sort of get to the point where that can be discussed so that it can, very often with leadership, it's about making it someone else's idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you're a North or an East and you can turn on a dime and, hey, yeah, today it's this way. Don't assume that South and West are going to be willing to turn on that dime.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah. And vice versa. If you're on this defensive West and South side, don't expect this side to try to, satisfy your needs for everything to stay stable and secure all the time. This is something we're going on in a big way in America right now.
Yeah. Oh, huge.
We're coming off this enormous industrial boom, particularly after World War II, leading up to, the kind of the arrival of the internet, really. And, so conception, birth, growth, and then sort of harvest.
Yeah.
And we are, most of us watching this, if you're in that Gen X range, you were born and lived and came of age in this whole height of this whole thing going. All of these institutions that were just rocks. And we're at a spot where we have to tell the emperor that, he and she has no clothes. We have to
We're right there.
question things that have been in place the way they are with very little change for a long time.
Well, right. So you're going from order back into this new ideas.
This changing of the hemisphere.
Yeah.
So when we talked about North and East, this is a really difficult transition. And this one right here might be the toughest one for humanity and civilizations of all time. If you go back in history, every big problem, you can see this at the scene of the crime.
Can anybody feel that right now?
Yes.
We're having
That's why we're calling it the next American dream.
Exactly.
The last American dream happened. It's gone through its cycle. It's in the, the evening, hours of its life cycle.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the next thing is yet. And that is very, very perturbing for a big chunk of society because America has been stable. The route to success, the rules, they've all seemed pretty clear.
Yep.
And
it's been in order,
and
pretty
so
much.
that's kind of where we get back to methods. The method for success in the last century was some version of go to school, get good grades, do what you're told, get a job, work hard, save, invest, retire.
Right.
Successfully.
Right.
Okay? That's a method. Will that method work, if you're coming out of high school like today in 2019? No. Clearly, does that mean you don't go to school? No. Does it mean you don't study or get a job? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the way in which we do those things, the things that we need to be learning, the way we need to think about what a job actually is, those things are substantially changing.
Which is why there's so much anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are seeing yourself as South or maybe West on this defensive side, I want you to open your mind to the possibility of the possibility that this is how history works. and to align yourself with some offensive people, and to give your contribution, but not to undermine progress.
Yeah.
Because that will kill it for all of us.
That's a great point.
Right?
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, believe me, once this period all went through after World War II and a lot of the structures that are in place right now happened, believe me, these folks had to play a different role, and this side has been predominantly on the field for quite some time now.
Yes.
Okay? This is the predominant energy of our corporations and our government right now. And it needs to shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we say chaos and order, there's always order within here and all these cycles, and there's always this on the other side, but there really is these positions.
It's a way to look at it.
Yeah, offense, defense.
It's a way to look at it.
It's kind of like the yin and yang.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, Souths, you rock. We need you. You're so important to the success of every organization. If you have any questions, please email us at hunter@tnad.us. We love questions. It's way easier to explain these concepts against specific questions. That's why I love doing this live. But we wanted to find some way to be able to share this over the interweb. So, do you have anything else to add?
Well, this is our game, hunting for the next American dream. Do you want to go?
Hunting for freedom. That's what we do. West is next.